Are we live? Hello everybody, this is the exercising for perfect posture demo because we lost the first one as we uploaded it. Like 90% of it disappeared. I'm not sure what happened there, but Megan's under control today. Not that Megan wasn't under control the first time, but right, Megan, we love you. And so today we're going to go through those exercises again for those of you who were at the class and want to review. Hopefully you'll be watching this and reading over your notes that we handed out. And for those of you who didn't come to the class, you'll get to see how they're performed. So it's not just doing the exercises, it's how to do the exercises that counts. And the whole purpose for this is to do a demonstration of how you can perform an exercise at home in a short period of time. The goal is to get the thing done in about 15 to 20 minutes max. And that should allow you the opportunity to have a great whole body, core-based, floor-oriented routine. Doesn't require any equipment, although we're going to go over some free weight options for different things that we'll show you how to do that, and we'll use the adjusting table as a modified bench. But you would need a bench at home, simple flat bench that you can buy at Sears for probably $100 or maybe even less, and maybe some light dumbbells. So let's start with exercising for perfect posture. Why we do that? Because there's a big difference between exercising for wellness versus exercising for fitness. A lot of people in the gym, and there's a lot of fit people, but I also see a lot of unwell people. So you can be fit and unwell, but not well and unfit. Got to ponder that for a second. So what are we doing? We're going to always choose exercises that are right for us. Everybody requires movement for wellness. The art of exercise comes in the process of learning what movements are right for you. Remember to listen to your body and always keep that at the top of your mind during your workouts. Never do anything that feels like an injury type of pain or that might lead to that type of pain. Your body knows more than you, so you should listen to it. And then the big how do we perform these exercises? Always remember that form precedes function. In the mind, in the approach to this, you want to remember that if your technique is wrong, you not only miss the target body parts, but you create inefficiency and even worse injuries. Some that may be acute, others that you might not realize for some time down the road. Beginners should not, in my opinion, beginners should not be doing resistance training more than 2 to 3 times per week, with each workout encompassing the whole body, doing an approximate 50-50 split between cardiovascular and resistance training. So in the demo that we do today, these would be the floor-oriented exercises. I like to try to cap it at 15 minutes. That way, you allocate 15 minutes to that, 15 minutes of cardio. And this is, again, for beginners, and that should be plenty. And if you're doing that 3 times a week, you're going to be in better shape. So remember this, too. Implementation is knowledge, implementation, not knowledge, is power. So let's go through the basic guidelines. Consider intensity level. So monitor your intensity level. If it feels like too much, back off. This is an approach that you can use to graduate slowly over time. There's no right and wrong. You listen to your body. Work upper and lower body. Always keep in mind that you want balance in the body. Work the front and the back groups. Maintain a balance between cardiovascular and resistance training. And when in doubt, don't. If you're not sure about an exercise, stop. If you're not, if you have any questions, ask me. Once you've done something, if you're not sure what you're doing, you do it. Once it's done, it's done. You definitely do not want to create an injury, obviously, because that's going to impede your progress. So here we go. Floor-based, core-based exercises. Crunches. Never pull on the head. Avoid neck flexion. Intensity can be added with weight and or reps. Avoid anchoring the feet, as this creates an emphasis on the legs and hip flexors. Avoid touching the head to the floor, as this will help unload the lower back and anterior neck muscles. So here's what a crunch looks like. Lots of routines for abdominals. This is the one that I like the best for a crunch. So in this one, I'm going to bring my feet up off the floor. I'm going to rest my hands comfortably in front of my forehead. And my goal as I do this exercise is to elevate my torso up off the floor. Specifically thinking of those chicken wing bones behind me, my scapula. I'm not going to pull on my head. I'm simply going to rest my hands and I'm going to elevate and squeeze at the top. Elevate up. Squeezing and holding for a second at the top. Nice and easy. And at a slow pace, contracting at the top and lowering until my scapula hit the floor. If you do those right, it shouldn't take more than 5 or 6 to 10 reps in the beginning, one set. If you feel like that's getting easier, you can increase the reps, you can increase the sets. But again, the key there is form. You want to elevate, think about elevating the torso. The word crunch is kind of a misnomer, and it gives the thought process for a lot of people to want to pull and curl forward. And there's a lot of things wrong with that because it can strain your upper and lower back, it can strain your neck, and generally you're going to start using muscles that you don't want to use. When you do the crunch the way I just showed you, after just a few reps you will feel that in your abdominals. Okay, so that's the first exercise. The next one is extensions for the lower back. Less is more, especially with this exercise in the beginning. Reps should be performed very slowly and fully. This exercise should be avoided by those with spinal stenosis and or significant facet arthritis. If you're not sure, feel free to ask me if you're a patient. Definitely, if you're not sure, let me know and we'll go over it. Avoid anchoring the feet, as this often creates a tendency toward hyperextension, and that's especially not good for beginners. And in the gyms, again, this is for home-based stuff. In the gyms, they have a machine called the Roman chair, and people drape themselves over this thing. They anchor their feet under this thing, and they're anchoring their ankles and hanging over and then coming up into extension. And sometimes, instead of just parallel with the floor, they're up into hyperextension. So even when you're on the floor, don't pin your feet under anything. Don't have anybody hold your feet. This is just about what you can do on your own. And this is a great way to target those lower back muscles. For the purposes of demonstration, it might be easier with your angle making if I do this on the adjusting table. So even there is fine, but I just think maybe the people get a better sense of what the exercise looks like if I do it up here rather than the floor. But this is certainly fine to do on the floor. And simply laying flat, and I'm going to put my hands under my forehead, and I'm not pushing off the floor. I'm going to bring them up with me, but I'm going to contract my lower back and curl upward. And the object here is to try to bring my chest up off the floor as much as I can and hold it at the top of the movement for a second. So here we go. And we're going to shoot to try to get 10 reps with a second count, a pause at the top. So here we go. That was 10 reps. And I went a little bit faster maybe than you have to go. Certainly the slower you make that movement, especially contracting at the top, holding it for a 1 second count, you'll definitely feel that. The slower you make it, the more pause at the top, the harder it is. And you're really going to feel that in these muscles down here on either side of the spine. It only takes a little bit of that. I would shoot for beginning one set of 5 to 10 reps, preferably up toward 10. Try to get to 10 at least. And that's a great way to begin. You can add intensity to any of these by adding reps and or sets. But in the beginning especially, I want to emphasize less is more. And even if you think it's easy, start with one, see how you do, and then wait and see what your body tells you. Maybe later the next day, you might be more sore than you thought. And you can always add reps and sets.